Okay, let's cast our minds back just a few years to a time, well, none of us are likely to forget soon, early 2020.
Hmm.
The world outside quieted down, routines just went out the window, and for a lot of us, suddenly, undeniably, we were, well, alone with our thoughts.
It really was an unprecedented global moment of stillness, wasn't it? With all that usual external noise kind of muted, the internal landscape just became unavoidable.
Absolutely unavoidable, and that intense, maybe forced introspection, that's the backdrop for the source we're diving into today.
Okay.
We've got an article written right in the thick of it, May 2020, and it reflects on that exact experience, connecting it directly to something incredibly powerful that was suddenly, like, front and center, the workings of our own minds.
Right. So this article takes that unique historical moment, that quiet time, and uses it as a lens, really, to examine some fundamental truths about our inner world.
And these truths are just as relevant now, maybe even more so, wouldn't you say, now that the world's sped back up.
Definitely, if not more so, yeah.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to really unpack the core insights from this article. We want to explore what it says about our automatic thought patterns, this idea of self-programming. And crucially, why those lessons, kind of forged in isolation, are still incredibly valuable for you today.
Yeah.
This deep dive, it's all about understanding that, automatic pilot that seems to run your mind and how you can begin, maybe just little by little.
It's a process.
It really is a journey, yeah. How you can begin to start taking the helm yourself.
Because that automatic pilot, it's not just sitting there. It's actively steering you, often completely without your conscious awareness.
Right.
Understand its power, its influence. That's really the essential first step.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The article, it wastes no time getting to a really core idea, the immense, almost unbelievable power of our mind. And there's a line right near the start that it hits you. This notion that what we imagine will trump our logic.
That is such a critical insight. It immediately, cuts to the chase about our fundamental nature, doesn't it?
It really does.
We like to think we're these super logical beings, driven by facts and reason. But this article highlights that we are, first and foremost, emotional, imaginative creatures. Our feelings, the pictures we make in our heads, the stories we tell ourselves, those often just steamroll the cold, hard logic.
It makes so much sense when you look at the examples the article uses. Like, think about advertising.
Okay.
Does a really great ad just hit you with a spec sheet? A list of facts?
Rarely, no.
No, it makes you feel something. It creates this desirable image or an emotion, an aspiration maybe, and connects it to a product.
Right, it taps directly into that imaginative emotional side, bypassing the logical bit that might chime in with, hang on, do I really need this?
Exactly. And the article points to something even faster, like an outrageous tweet.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The instant reaction.
Totally. It's designed for that immediate emotional hit. You see it, bang. It triggers anger or outrage or fear, whatever the intended emotion is. And that feeling drives your behavior straight away. Maybe you retweet it instantly. Maybe you fire off an angry reply.
Oh, before your logical brain has even had a chance to boot up properly, right?
Yeah.
To process the info, check if it's true, think about consequences.
Yeah, the imagination and emotion, they just get there first. They win.
So if that power exists, and clearly it does, and external forces, advertisers, social media, whatever, are constantly trying to tap into it to influence us.
Right.
The really potent question the article asks is this. Instead of just letting others wield this incredible power over our decisions and reactions, how can we turn that power inwards?
How do we harness it for ourselves?
Exactly. And this is where the article offers a really foundational principle. To work with this power, you first have to understand it.
Makes sense.
The quote from the source is crystal clear. Knowing how it works can help us know how to work it. It's like having, a complex piece of machinery.
Yeah.
You can't operate it effectively, get the best out of it, if you don't understand its mechanics. Our mind is the most complex machine we own.
And most of us get zero instruction manual.
Precisely. Zero training.
And part of understanding those mechanics involves looking at the sheer volume, the quantity of what's buzzing around inside our heads every single day. The article throws out this just stunning statistic.
It is pretty wild.
Estimates suggest we have at least 50,000 thoughts per day. 50,000.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? When you actually stop to think about it, or maybe not think about it.
Right. And the really critical part of that statistic, maybe slightly unsettling according to the article, is that a vast majority of those 50,000 plus thoughts are recurring self-talk. The same loops, the same
It's
phrases.
the same internal monologues just playing over and over and over again.
Yeah. That recurring internal chatter. The article calls that the program you're running.
Ah, okay, like software.
Exactly. It's essentially how you are conditioning yourself, moment by moment, day after day, year after year. And the punchline,
What's that?
it's often happening unbeknownst to you. You're running this sophisticated software that's dictating how you feel, how you react.
And you didn't even consciously install it, or maybe even know it was there.
Right. That is the automatic pilot right there in action.
And that's precisely why the article stresses the importance of, well, monitoring these thoughts, becoming aware of them.
You have to notice them first.
You have to. If you can begin to shine a light on that constant internal stream, you can start to differentiate. You can start asking, okay, how many of these thousands of daily thoughts are actually empowering me, pushing me forward, building me up?
Versus
How many are negative, limiting, holding me back? The ones that are maybe worth challenging or questioning or just letting go of.
It's like suddenly discovering your computer has been running some hidden program in the background that's slowing everything down.
Yeah, or subtly changing your work without you realizing.
You have to identify it before you can do anything about it, right?
Exactly. And until you make it conscious, it just keeps running, keeps dictating your responses, your feelings.
So the article gives this really personal and I think powerful case study of this exact process. It's from the author's own life.
Okay.
They share this recurring thought pattern, a question really, that's stuck with them for decades.
And what was it?
Why is everything so difficult?
Oof. Yeah, I can see how that could be limiting.
Definitely. And they trace the origin story of that specific question way back to primary school.
Right.
They'd moved to a new city. The academic level was higher than they were used to.
Mm-hmm.
Before, things had apparently come pretty easily.
Ah, okay. So suddenly just relying on innate ability wasn't enough.
Right. They were introduced to the concept of working hard. And for a young mind that was maybe used to effortless success, that felt like a struggle. It felt painful.
I get that.
The article notes the author still preferred being in the zone or flow over the grind. That makes sense. But that initial negative association with difficulty seems to have embedded that question, why is everything so difficult?
And then the adult manifestation of running that particular program. How did that play out?
Well, the author describes feeling resentful whenever obstacles inevitably popped up.
Okay. Instead of seeing them as challenges, maybe.
Exactly, and not tackling problems with the focus they could have, finding themselves giving up more easily than they perhaps wanted to.
Wow. So it's a perfect, albeit kind of painful illustration of how that unconscious internal programming from years ago was directly shaping their present behavior, their reactions, their results.
Totally. The author's conclusion is pretty stark.
Oh.
I've programmed my mind to resent difficulty.
And this immediately brings up that crucial question for you listening right now. What are your recurring thoughts? What are the subtle, persistent questions or statements that are playing in the background of your mind? The ones that might be unconsciously programming your responses to challenges or opportunities, or even just everyday stuff.
Are they helping you? Or are they holding you back without you even realizing it?
It's such a vital thing to think about, those automatic thought loops, because as the article implies, they're not just harmless background noise.
No.
They are actively constructing the operating system you use to navigate the world. And therefore, they're shaping your reality, your potential actions, everything.
So if you identify a program you don't want to be running anymore, if you realize your automatic pilot is maybe taking you somewhere you don't really want to go,
What then?
well, the article presents a clear path forward. Condition myself better, run a better program.
Okay, makes sense. But how?
And the strategy it offers is, well, it sounds deceptively simple, but it definitely requires conscious effort. Instead of just letting the old, maybe debilitating questions loop endlessly, you need to start consciously asking better questions.
Ah, shifting the focus.
Exactly. The author's examples are fantastic because they show this shift. Instead of that resigned, why is everything so difficult, you consciously pivot.
To what?
To questions like, okay, how do I break down this difficult thing into its easier components? Or maybe, how do I work smart instead of just hard?
That immediately shifts your brain, doesn't it? From complaining mode into problem-solving mode.
Totally. And the article points out how this connects beautifully to the underlying philosophy of the blog, where it was originally published, this idea of the toolbox for the working smart.
Right. It's not just a catchy title. It's an actual approach.
It's an approach to life, yeah.
And It brings to mind that famous quote, the one attributed to Abraham Lincoln, which the article includes.
Oh, yeah.
If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 4 hours sharpening the axe.
Sharpening the axe. That is the absolute epitome of working smart, isn't it?
It really is. It's about, as the article puts it, using the least amount of energy for the highest impact.
And the article is careful to emphasize this isn't about being lazy. It's not laziness.
No, it's about sustainability.
Sustainability, that's key. Because honestly, how long can anyone truly sustain just operating at maximum effort all the time? Just grinding through everything with brute force.
Especially if the results are only, trickling in.
Exactly. You burn out, you get resentful, just like the author's example showed.
So when we talk about harnessing the power of our brain, it's not just about raw horsepower, like how much thinking you can do.
No.
It's about directing that power effectively.
Right.
It's the difference between, flailing wildly in the water and using a proper swimming stroke.
Good analogy. Leverage.
Leverage, exactly. And that comes from working smart, from running a program that actively seeks efficient, sustainable solutions, not just banging your head against the wall.
Now, beyond the mind programming and the questioning techniques, the article also briefly touches on some other fundamental tools the author was exploring around that time. Things to support this goal of, effective brain function and high performance.
Right. It wasn't just about thoughts and isolation. They mentioned learnings from the book Limitless.
Covering those foundational areas like nutrition, exercise, and self-talk.
Recognizing that your physical state directly impacts your mental state, your capacity. It's all connected.
Absolutely. And they were looking at taking things further, too, like exploring reading faster or improving memory. Skills, basically.
They even included a specific note about supplementing with adaptogens.
Oh, yeah. What are those again?
But they're described as plant-based compounds, things believed to help the body sort of manage stress and inflammation better. The author mentioned planning to go deeper into that.
Interesting. It highlights a really holistic view, doesn't it? The brain isn't just floating in a jar, it's part of your body.
Totally connected. And they also spoke about the absolute value of recovery time.
Ah, yes. Crucial.
Specifically highlighting being in nature. How just a simple stroll among flowers or a walk in the woods offers these soothing properties.
Yeah.
And importantly, how it stimulates feel-good chemicals in the brain. It's not just fluff. It's essential maintenance if you want to run effective programming.
It's part of sharpening the axe, really.
Good point, yeah. Which, of course, brings us full circle, doesn't it? Back to that initial context of 2020 isolation. The article makes a really powerful point by listing historical examples. People like Shakespeare, writing King Lear and Macbeth while apparently isolated during the bubonic plague.
Wow.
And Isaac Newton, making groundbreaking scientific discoveries during a similar period of isolation, also due to plague.
So they didn't just, endure the isolation, they leveraged it.
Precisely. They used that quiet time. The article really drives home the point. Isolation, forced or self-imposed, is a great opportunity for reflection, innovation, and creativity.
When the external world goes quiet.
The internal world has a chance to actually be heard. You can listen to yourself.
And the author's clear statement right there in May 2020 was that they didn't want to squander that opportunity and regret later.
It gives you pause, doesn't it? Thinking back on that time. Or even just looking at moments of quiet or solitude you might have now.
Yeah.
What stands out to you about this idea? What opportunities for reflection or innovation or creativity might you be overlooking simply because you're not consciously looking for them? Or maybe just too busy?
It weaves the whole picture together so beautifully, I think. The core message from this article, it feels like it's ultimately one of potential and empowerment. That we need to actively learn more about our brain, to harness its power and unleash its full might onto our field of predilection.
Whatever that field is for you, your work, your creative project, your relationships, your personal growth, anything.
It's really a call to action, isn't it? Stop being just a passenger to your own mind.
And start becoming the driver.
Yeah.
To understand the controls, learn how they work, and then consciously steer towards where you actually want to go, not just where the automatic pilot takes you.
And the author's hope, which kind of grew out of these reflections in isolation, is that this deeper understanding, this conscious effort, it leads to unprecedented individual and hopefully collective leap forwards.
That's the potential reward, isn't it, for doing this inner work? Understanding your programming isn't just about fixing problems or stopping negative thoughts. It's about unlocking capabilities you might not even know you had.
Right. It can fuel significant progress, real leaps in any area of your life you choose to focus on.
Definitely.
So we've taken this deep dive today into an article that was really forged in those unique circumstances of the pandemic. We explored the surprising dominance of emotion over logic,
How feelings often lead the way.
the pervasive, often unnoticed power of our automatic thought programming, that automatic pilot, and how we can begin to just uncover that programming.
Becoming aware is step one.
And we looked at strategies like asking better questions, valuing recovery, maybe using nature, embracing periods of reflection, all to start that journey of taking conscious control.
And it absolutely is a journey. Recognizing that the automatic pilot is powerful, it's deeply ingrained, that's crucial.
Yeah, you can't expect overnight miracles.
No, it's not about instantly changing decades of conditioning. It's more about becoming aware, identifying the patterns, and then gradually, persistently beginning to steer in a new direction.
One better question at a time.
One better question, one conscious thought at a time,
Oh.
little by little.
And the article leaves us with this really powerful, forward-looking question, something to carry with us, I think. It builds on everything we've discussed, understanding your mind, recognizing your programming, the opportunity that comes from conscious reflection.
What is it?
What will your leap forward be?